Welcome to Partner News, Mr. Jayasuriya. Now tell us a little bit about your company, McQuire, Rens and Jones.
We are a company that started in the year 2002, and we are into business consulting, corporate restructuring, and we also do corporate training, and we run public seminars. We started at that time running about 10 seminars a year. Now we do something like 10 to 15 seminars a month. So that shows the credibility we have built over the years and the trust that we have built among business associates and the corporate world. And we also have offices that we have opened up in Dhaka, Bangladesh, in Maldives, in Singapore, and we do a fair amount of training in those countries as well. And I'm happy to say that in a nutshell, we have progressed quite competently and confidently.
In terms of training, how would you rate our employable population?
I'm going to break that question into two parts. Part number one is the academia, which are the universities that churn out graduates year on year. Now, I don't know when the curricula of the university has ever been revised. Perhaps the job is considered to be too tedious that the heads of faculties and the deans have not looked at the business requirements on the ground and therefore work backwards to set the curricula of the university. Therefore, people coming out of universities in Sri Lanka find it a little difficult to be employed because they lack the business sense and the business environment. And some of the subjects that should have been built into the curricula of the university graduates are not in the curricula, sadly. And therefore, we have a bit of a mismatch once they graduate and come out. And the problem we find among graduates is, it's unfortunate that they feel that once they enter university, that their future is glorious and will be taken care of, and that once they are a graduate, that all their problems will be sorted and that they are easily employable. Well, some of them or several of them could be absorbed by the public sector. But as for the private sector, the rate that the private sector is growing and the type of economic activity the private sector is involved in and the attitudes, cultures and requirements of the private sector is something that will be hard to match unless the curriculum of the university, Sri Lanka universities, is changed. Then the second part I would like to answer it is that there are institutions. We have chartered accountant institutions, we have the IPM, we have engineering institutions. Fine. They are able to set standards and qualify people, but then again, some of these institutions, I don't want to name them, don't give them the business climate education or business climate in orientation into the program. So, for example, you highly qualify as, say, if you take human resources, you have qualified human resources people every year passing out from the IPM. But how many of them are actually employable? Now, when I speak to organization CEOs and when I speak to directors of HR, they tell me that one of the biggest problems is to pick a good HR person from the market. Now, that is a problem that is seen as a practical situation in our market as it is today. So how could we build even into the professional bodies a certain curricula of strategic management of speed, interracial, interethnicity, interhuman interactional capability, results orientation and to be result centric, adjustment, flexibility and working in an organic structure. Now these are some key areas that we could build in to professional body examinations to help them to become more adaptable and flexible to fit into different cultures of organizations.
Now you're in the business of training. Now what is lacking in Sri Lanka?
In terms of training, what we need is, we need both. We need the theoretical part of it, which is more the concepts, the principles and the theory side of the business. But we also need to have more on the job, more vocational, more, out of the classroom type of situations, what you call the buddy system, sitting next to analysis systems, and where people, even from universities and educational institutions, get an orientation in the form of an exposure in established leading organizations. So they can put in, I know there is a scheme right now where they have interns, which is a good thing. But to drive the point home, it is nice to find people rotating in different divisions of organizations so that they are able to compare, contrast, and then decide what is the career I must choose for myself.
What would you like to see that would improve your area of business?
We are thinking of actually doing two things. One is we want to have a platform for supporting CEOs of this country. And in that light, we have started the CEO Breakfast Forum. We started this about 10 months ago, and we are in partnership with the Cinnamon Lakeside Hotel. So in fact, this is an idea that I mooted, and I took it up with Cinnamon Lakeside, and we started going quite well on this, where we have a forum every other month. And subsequently, recently, we invited Art TV also to come in as a partner, and now it's sort of a tripartite with Art TV, Cinnamon Lakeside, and McQuire, Rens and Jones. We run this CEO forum. The important thing is we get a hands-on, distinguished person to address the CEOs soon after the breakfast is over, and it is only by invitation. Now the question is, why did we start this? Generally in Sri Lanka you have CEOs nominating managers, senior managers for programs and trainings, but where do the CEOs update their knowledge? So we wanted to create a network where they meet each other, they exchange their views, and it's a nice thing to get the CEOs together. At the end of the day, they are the captains of the ships, and they can together share their experiences and listen to some talk that is at that high level, and that has the feedback we have got so far is very, very interesting. The second thing we have done is we have recently started a HR forum, which is in collaboration with the Galadari Hotel, and we have it at the Galadari Hotel also every other month. There we invite only the HR fraternity, and we bring experts in the form of chairmen of companies, CEOs, HR directors, and they will address on very current critical issues where HR can be seen to be adding value to the business. And the feedback we got so far from the HR participants so far, like HR managers, HR directors who come for this program, has been very, very encouraging.